Okay, it's dated March 27th, 2020. Here we go. The World Health Organization inflates the number of sick people to create fake epidemics to sell vaccines. Sounds like a Clinton deal, doesn't it? Okay, let's get to the gist of this, people. The CDC claimed that at the height of the swine flu epidemic in 2009, there were 22 million cases in the U.S., yet the overwhelming number of U.S. blood samples sent to labs came back with no signs of swine flu or any kinds of flu. The West Nile, the bird flu, Zika, and the eruption of swine flu in 1976 were all predicted to sweep across the world. They were all duds, and their number of actually infected was minuscule. Don Rappaport suggests that the purpose of the latest Chinese epidemic and the quarantine of tens of million people is to get us used to thinking that this is just normal and proper for governments to clamp down on all human activity in the name of public health, even if the threat is greatly exaggerated or perhaps doesn't even exist. So they moved us from one thing into a numbers game. Hold your hats. There's all sorts of categories and terms that pop up. You're not supposed to understand them. You're supposed to let them wash over you, submit to the idea that we're all potential victims being sucked into a giant vortex, and the only hope of escape depends on the rush deployment of experimental vaccines. What are the terms and categories? Well, they're confirmed cases. There are the infected people. There are carriers of virus. There are mild cases. Projected cases. There is a probability that many cases have avoided detection. There's a positive case for the virus. There's a computer modeling for case estimates. Virus spreaders exploding too quickly to track accurately. Ate the infected bat. Ate the snake. Extraterrestrial alien cases. Oops, wrong article. Interesting fact, in 2003, another coronavirus pandemic called SARS. Then, as now, the experts at the World Health Organization predicted a dire wildfire of global cases. And then, as even now, and the state of emergency was declared, WHO issued an advisory telling people not to fly to Toronto because that city was infected. When it was all said and done, the official number of SARS deaths, 800 out of 7 billion people. Doesn't matter. The pros are still calling SARS in retrospect a serious epidemic. A more proper technical term would be dud. Okay, prior to the articles, detail to the Center of Control lied about sounding level about the case numbers of the so-called swine flu epidemic in 2009. Their overwhelming percentage of U.S. blood samples sent to the lab came back with no signs of swine flu or any other kind. Cheryl Atkinson, a star investigative reporter working for CBS at the time, exposed the fraud. Yet, the CDC eventually went on to claim at the height of the swine flu epidemic, there were 22 million cases in the U.S. I kid you not. These experts are all big league liars. They are champions. They are in the Hall of Fame. So if you're working for a major public health agency, cooking up case numbers and exploding fears are part of your everyday arsenal. They have to be. Otherwise, they would be caught with your pants down. So sorry, folks. The world-ending global pandemic they're telling you about last week, it didn't pan out. Most of the cases were mild on the order of a bad cold, and a lot of cases were pretty much made up. We got carried away. After all, we're just basically salespeople for the vaccine industry. Remember the West Nile bird flu, Zika, all the way back to the swine flu scare of 1976. They were all hyped to the sky. They were predicted to sweep across the world. They're all connected by some people to engineered viruses in a biolab against another thing that we don't understand, and we don't stand a chance. They're all duds. The case numbers, when the smoke cleared, were minuscule. That's called a clue. So at high levels, the micro level, the Chinese epidemic is supposed to connect all the people of the earth, and not in a good way. It's yet one more strategy to execute a stage magic collective trick. You know, make us all good little socialists, to make us think that that there are no nations, no sovereign entities of any kind on this planet, no individuals with the right to choose. We are all huddled masses yearning to be vaccinated. We're marching when told, according to orders from above. We're all victims. We all depend on a congealed global superstate. We should all thank God for China. It's shown us the way. The locking down and the quarantine of millions of people is fine and just and proper thing. It sets an example we will soon have to follow with good cheer and faith. I'll put a link to this, people. You go read it. There's more to it than this. It gives you a heads up. And don't believe all the stuff that you hear. You've been told that before. You've been told before.